Kamen Rider Geats is the fourth entry to the Kamen Rider franchise's Reiwa era. Much like the other series in this era, Geats seeks to use past ideas in new ways. 01 brought the cyborg themes of the Showa era to a new light and acted as a showcase for everything the second half of the Heisei era brought, along with huge expectations as a jumping on point for new viewers. Saber may seem like a typical modern Rider show with shiny aesthetics and cute collectible items for the year, but it's subtly used, airing in the first half of the 50th anniversary year of Kamen Rider to tell a story about the impact of stories and what we can learn from them. Revice was more directly inspired by the 50th anniversary, not just in the initial powers being loosely based on Legend Riders, but taking the double rider concept from the last arc of 1971 and making it a main selling point with our 2-in-1 main rider. And now Geats is going back to the Battle Royale format of Ryuki and Gaim, but with a video game twist, with even the initial marketing of the show name-dropping Apex Legends and Fortnite as inspirations for the premise. There's also a bit of Squid Games thrown in, since that was a huge success at the time Geats was being conceived. Now, Geats might be one of the only Rider shows I've seen where it's openly broken up into story arcs to the point of seeing the title of the ongoing arc in the episode titles. You've got Encounter, Conspiracy, Divergence, Lamination, Yearning, and Creation, each representing a new season of the show within our show that our writers compete in, the Desire Grand Prix, where the winner gets a wish to recreate the world in their image. I've seen people complain about the constant resetting and recreation of the world since they claim there's no stakes or urgency in anything, but I disagree. For one, the losers ultimately give up their desires and forget all about the Grand Prix unless they're selected for the next season. Even if they're not killed in the games, there's still drama in them losing. This isn't even to mention how many of the people competing in the Desire Grand Prix have corrupt wishes, and some of those wishes could harm the world, so it's up to our heroes to win the Grand Prix before those with terrible wishes. Besides, the show is more character focused than it may initially seem, with it focusing on 4 core characters throughout the whole show, while other competitors exist to advance the themes of the core 4's desires and growth. While I would have loved to see a lot of fleshed out riders, I think it was ultimately a smart move, as it allows the show to have a focused cast while giving the marketing need for the higher-ups to have so many Kamen Riders in the show. Speaking of, I'm not going to go over every Kamen Rider in this show, because not only is there a lot, but some only appear for 1 or 2 episodes, or in the case of Kamen Rider Punk Jack, I'll cover him in his own video eventually. In fact, I could probably make a few individual videos on the one-off characters in Geats, because Yuya Takahashi is good at making fun characters to talk about, even if they only have a couple episodes to their name. As for the titular Kamen Rider Geats, we have the star of the stars, Ukiyo Ace. He's a very competent and stylish character, often being one step ahead of everyone else thanks to his supernatural good luck. He wins multiple times throughout the show, using his wishes to figure out what the DGP is cooking behind the scenes in order to see his mother. Ace is one of those guiding light protagonists who represent what the other characters should be striving for in their ideals. He may seem invincible and exist to grow everyone else in the cast on the surface, but when you dig a bit deeper, he has a bit more depth than some may think. For example, at the start of the series, while he does get friendly with the fellow DGP participants, he's very malicious about how he interacts with them. But as the show's stakes increases, Ace learns to be more diplomatic with his allies and less mischievous, though he's still quite the sneaky boy when the occasion calls for it. Our secondary writer is Kewa Sakura, aka Kamen Rider Tycoon. He's an aimless young man who wants to protect others first and foremost with little care for himself. Hell, this belief comes from his sister, so it's not even his own path he carved for himself. Though this compassion early on gets him tricked by Ace in early DGP games, though despite this, he stays strong on his beliefs to help others. After Kewa loses the game for the first time, we see that these beliefs are a core foundational part of him, as without that desire, he's buying lottery tickets for himself as his cynical edge grows more and more. We later learn of the DGP supporters for some characters, with Kewa's supporter being Kikura, who seems all about Kewa's motivation for love and peace, but is secretly manipulating him into a hero of sorrow who hides his pain behind the mask for his own entertainment. While Kewa lets cynicism get him from time to time, he ultimately pulls out of it. Kewa is done letting others choose his own path, the good and the bad, and must make his own road in life, the road he truly believes in. Kewa is one of my favorite characters in Geats. He has great moments of heroics, but I love how the characters question how and where his heroic motivations come from, which does lead him down a dark path, but later leads him down the path of redemption, showing one of the core ideals of Kamen Rider being how one can use the gifts and tools for their own good or evil. Neon, aka Kamen Rider Nagao, is an adorable online personality who wants to find love and lead the mundane life, which finds herself in conflict with her rich family who wants to protect her from the real world world due to a screwed up incident revealed later in the series. I appreciate how Neon's arc of love comes from finding love within herself and her friends rather than finding a love interest to date or something. I do find the arc where she makes up with her family towards the end of the show a bit messy for how abusive they came across earlier in the show. I mean, the dad stuff was well done, but the mom's redemption felt off to me. I know Kamen Rider still airs on Sunday mornings for kids, so it makes sense why these parents, who aren't ultimately major villains, don't get as harshly scolded at for their behavior as realistically as they should. On a brighter note, I love her supporting character Kyun, a antisocial poet who may seem rude in person but has beautiful words to say in his letters, eventually getting to a point where he can express such beauty in person. Kyun does a great job representing the good streamers can do for their viewers, a major contrast to the rest of the supporters who delve into toxic fan tropes when interacting with their Kamen Riders. Speaking of toxicity, Michinaga Azuma, aka Kamen Rider Buffa, is our rival character for the season. He's a man of brute force who wishes to destroy all Kamen Riders because of the DGP's corruption of innocence, which is fitting as before the Grand Prix, he was a simple blue-collar worker living paycheck to paycheck. Michinaga sees through the glitz and glamour of the Grand Prix, thus wants to eliminate the very Kamen Riders the DGP needs for entertainment. I find Michinaga interesting in his hypocrisy, because he does the very things he derides other Kamen Riders for in order to achieve his goals, making him a fascinating character, but one of ultimately good intentions to stop the ones in power from abusing it. He's just going about it the wrong way. Those are the 4 core Kamen Riders in Geats who get the most focus, and they're a solid bunch of writers, but sometimes I find the in and out writers a bit more interesting and entertaining, but these characters are still great. We've talked heroes, so let's talk about villains. Geats has multiple villains throughout its run, but the one I find most interesting was the final boss, Seul. Seul never has a face actor, being constantly portrayed as a masked man representing the will of his audience from the future. He may not have a distinct personality, but that's kind of the point. He's supposed to be the embodiment of despair and doom. He just wants to speed up the world's bad end for his own entertainment. Unlike our heroes, he doesn't want to work for his happiness and just wants to dwell in misery and shallow entertainment that the DGP provided. It's a wonderful culmination of everything Geats has been building to till that point. Overall, Kamen Rider Geats is another quality Kamen Rider series, especially in its visual polish. Outside of the CGI supporter riders who only appear in 2 episodes, the fights and cinematography are next level stuff. However, as usual, the complex narrative themes relating to how to properly express your desires, the ethical dilemmas of entertainment and happiness under capitalism, and the strong character personalities, even for roles who only appear for a couple episodes, are what really make the show worth watching. It may not be my favorite, but I can easily see how it can be someone else's favorite.